Quality, not quantity.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Douglas School Committee to order on November 15th, 2022. I'd like to first start by reading the Douglas Missions for Public Schools mission statement. The Douglas Public School offers diverse learning experience that meet the academic, social, physical, and emotional needs of all of our students. We provide a safe, supportive, and a challenge learning environment in which our students may achieve academic success and personal growth. Decisions are made in the best interest of our students. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. I'd like to call our school student representatives from the middle school, Trent Fragula and Chris Blue.
Hello, Douglas School Committee. My name is Trent Fragala, and I'm here with Chris Blue, and we are representing the Student Council at Douglas Middle School. A lot has happened in the past month, starting out with sports. The middle school cross-country team ended the season with the boys winning the DVC championship and coming second in the Central Mass State Meet, which took place at Wachusett High School. 5 of their runners competed in the 14th annual state meet on Saturday, November 4th as well. Meanwhile, on October 27th, the Music Boosters held a Halloween dance for our students to enjoy. There were snacks and refreshments sold there throughout the night. Also, quarter one report cards were posted at the end of last week for families to view. In addition to that, September's Student of the Month breakfast and ceremony was held at the end of October. The families were very proud of each of the students' accomplishments.
In Student Council news, we are holding our annual food drive for St. Dennis Church here in Douglas. All donations will go toward the church's food pantry. So far, we have collected about 359 items, with 6th grade in the lead for the most donations. To motivate students to participate, the grade with the most items get New England Patriots hats and $1 off the next school dance. For every 10 items, students will earn a minute off a fun activity next on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
In the 8th grade, we are keeping busy. In science, we are learning about the ocean and its currents. We recently took a quiz on this topic, while using notes and slideshows to study. In English, we are learning about the Holocaust and vocabulary words that go along with it. We will be reading about a play about Anne Frank. Next door, in Spanish, students are finishing watching the movie Coco and making alebrijes using vibrant colors and designs. We then used basic questions in Spanish and wrote a paragraph on them. Next, Miss Miller's civics class is learning about the Declaration of Independence and its writers. We are also decoding it and writing it modern-day words while connecting it to the Enlightenment thinkers. In pre-algebra, the students are working on adding and subtracting in scientific notation. Many worksheets and notes are used while learning. Lastly, the honors algebra class is learning about Pythagorean theorem and the distance between 2 points. We have done many escape rooms as well as using worksheets.
Currently in 7th grade math, students are using stations to help them learn about how to add and subtract integers with variables. Next door in ELA, they are writing about the history of their names, including what it means and where it came from. They are also learning the difference between phrases and clauses, and continuing reading their book, The Outsiders. In history, they are learning about ancient India and the religions they had, including Hinduism and Buddhism, and are also reading about the Mauryan Empire. In the science wing, 7th graders are doing a project testing different energy sources, including convection, conduction, and radiation. They are looking at different materials under a heat lamp to see which one become colder or warmer using different conductors. They will be using this information to test for a device on what will keep penguins cold. Down in the 6th grade hallway, math students are learning how to balance algebraic expressions and equations, and have recently had a quiz on this. In science class, they are learning about the phases of the moon, eclipses, and they are going to have a quiz on this on Friday. In ELA, they are making slideshows and posters for their summer reading projects. History, they're studying Paleolithic people and different languages.
Thank you for your time. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
Hey, have a good night.
Thank you.
Is anyone here for public comment? Seeing that there is none, we're going to move on to old business.
You don't have any old business?
Moving on to new business.
All right, welcome, everyone. And officially welcome to Meg. This is, I know, your second meeting, but your first in-person meeting, so welcome to our school, our home here. First, we'd like to introduce Ken Haynes. Ken's our new interim elementary school principal. I will not steal his thunder with a huge introduction, but I'd like to come up and just spend a few minutes introducing himself to the committee. His first day was Wednesday of last week, so we was here Wednesday, Thursday, and you're on day 5.
Day 5 on the job.
Day
so-
5 on the job. So I'll turn it over to you.
Welcome. Thank you very much. I'm really pleased to be here. Very proud and just impressed by everything. I can't really speak too much about the school. I learned a lot. I was at the PTO meeting last night. It was wonderful. But I guess maybe now what I'll do is I'll tell you a little bit about nice to see you again, tell you a little bit about myself and what led me here. Because when I'm a Massachusetts kid, I was born and raised in Concord. I went to the University of Massachusetts, but I had no interest in being a teacher at that point. But I'll tell you a little bit about, I guess, about my path to get here. So then maybe that will tell you, kind of give you a sense of how I tick, so to speak, and what led me here. While at UMass, I studied sports marketing, and then I was always enamored by the West Coast. So I decided that was the time. So I moved out west to pursue that career, which I did. I was working for a sports management company, but I was also in my free time. I was part of a Big Brother program, and then I was part of a group of people that we started a nonprofit that worked with inner city kids and introducing them to the benefits of health and fitness. And I found that as I was kind of moving up the corporate chain, I was spending less time with the kids in those programs, and I found that I really loved those. So after doing that for about 8 years, I decided to come back to the East Coast. I enrolled at what's now Boston University's Wheelock College of Education. I got my master's and a dual certification in special education and elementary education. And my first job was as a special educator. I was a special educator. And then I had a chance to become a classroom teacher. My first job was in Lincoln, Mass., and then I shifted over to Brookline, where I was a classroom teacher. Having those special education skills and experiences really benefited me as a classroom teacher, and enabled me to collaborate better with other special educators, and so I really learned the dynamic and the importance of teachers and collaboration and how everyone benefits. I then got my certification in administration, and I became an assistant principal in the city of Waltham. But I'll tell you that when I was working in the classroom, this was during kind of the start of ed tech. I had started a writing website, and basically it was just a small little side project that I did, but it grew because what I did is I used what I knew about teaching, and I had a partner who he had a technology company, and we had an idea around collaborative writing, so we started a writing website. It grew, the business ended up getting funded, and I actually left public education, to run this ed tech company, which was a very, very interesting experience because we ended up in tens of thousands of classrooms, and I was going all over the country and overseas to teach teachers how to use the tool, and it was great. I got to meet so many students and teachers, but I missed, everything was on the fly. It was all very, I'd go in for a day, train, and then leave, and I didn't get to have those relationships with the kids and the families, and I always wanted to come back to working in a school and being able to, establish those kind of relationships. And after about 8.5 years of doing that, I then saw the opportunity to come back, and I was an assistant principal in Franklin for a couple of years, and then I had this opportunity. I was given this wonderful opportunity here in Douglas at the elementary school, and I just want to tell you, I'm incredibly impressed by the facilities. They're beautiful. The kids are so sweet and warm and welcoming. The families are incredible. The PTO meeting last night, I was really impressed. They were just, they're doing so much and they're so dedicated. The teachers, all the staff at the school is so committed. The vibe there is very positive and very pleasant and very collaborative. You feel it. It's like some places have it and some don't. And the elementary school has it. I take no credit. That was already there. And I'm just also the leadership in the district. I just feel very supported, and I feel like it does really start from the top. And that positive, collaborative nature, just the way everyone works together, everyone's super supportive. It starts at the top, and you just feel it there. You feel it when you walk in the door of the school. So I just want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity and having me tonight, and I look forward to working with all of you. And come by the school sometime and take a tour, and we'll walk around and, let me know what I can do to help. So thank you for having me.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Did anyone have any questions? I didn't.
We're just glad you're here.
Oh,
We're
nice.
glad you're here, and I personally can't wait to hear, in a couple weeks, or, when you guys come back and you give your reports and you look at the data and you give us your ideas. I'm really excited to kind of see what you think.
Sure. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And we've started that. So yeah. I'm just excited to learn more and be better at the job. The more I learn, the better I'll be at it, and the more effective I'll be. Right now, I'm like, I got the floaties on, and I'm just trying my best to stay above the water. But I feel very, very supported. So really, by everyone. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say welcome to our community. I've heard rave reviews your first 2 days last week, so we really appreciate the fact that you were quickly able to come in and fill a gap that we had with the principal leaving us. So welcome to our community.
Thank
If
you.
there's anything you need from us or from leadership, please do not hesitate, because we're here to help you too as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And as a mom of an elementary school student, it's all been positive. Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
I apologize to Dr. Rosenthal, who has to follow that now. As I look next on the agenda. So I asked Dr. Rosenthal to come in and present to you on his 100-day report. I don't know exactly what official day or what calendar we're using, but, Greg was here in July and August over the summer and was able to do a lot of things over the summer. And we're 3 months into the school year, and we've had a lot of discussions, the two of us, the special education team with the coordinators, with Mrs. Keegan and the principals, and I thought it'd be a good time being here now for 3 months, really with kids and teachers in the building, but now in the district for 5 months, to come and give a committee just an overview, what his impressions are, what he's seen, what his vision is, what he's been working on, what he wants to work on 100 days in. So I'll turn it over to Greg.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bear. Good evening, committee.
Good evening.
I feel like I was just
Yes.
flashback at the same thing 100 days ago, introducing myself to you. So 100 days went quick. That was very quick. So just a couple of buckets that I would just want to discuss, kind of areas that we've been looking at and reviewing. So first and foremost, I really wanted to get out and talk to the stakeholders. We've already had 5 special education parent advisory committee meetings. By state mandates, we need to have 4, so we've already exceeded them for the year, and we're looking to continue that. That has been instrumental in giving me information from families of what they're looking for, advising me practices on the budget, resources, allocations, so on and so forth, especially with a historical background component that being new I didn't have. So it was very nice. So they're a wonderful group. They're very energetic, enthusiastic, and we're slowly building the trust with the families again. I really moving forward, we've had opportunities to have professional development with teachers. Again, it wasn't so much we're going to build skill in the teachers right now, because I didn't know where they were at. so I had to get a baseline. So more of it was having the discussions with the teachers, understanding what they're looking for in leadership, understanding where they've been in the last couple of years. So their feedback was critical. We're also doing monthly department meetings in each building. So we're going to continue to have those touch points with the teachers and continue to be able to discuss areas of opportunities and areas of growth and where our strengths are as well. And then we have the weekly admin meetings, been meeting with the building principals on at least a weekly basis, if not more, getting some feedback where their vision is for special education and student services within their buildings and working collaboratively. As Dr. Vieira said earlier, we've had an opportunity as a central office staff to have a lot of discussions what the vision is of the district and how do we make it a continuum of services from age 3 to 22. And that's a really important part for me. And so with that, it's the collaborative approach, and it's been nothing but tremendous support. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for that and all the stakeholders. So the next was to review some resources. What do we have within district currently? So before making any type of proposals, we want to see what we have. Space-wise, staffing-wise, schedule-wise. So we've already done a few exercises with the building principals, taking a look at their schedules, taking a look at service delivery grids, making sure we're efficient and effective with our practices. Just last week, I met with Principal O'Brien and Ms. Ramsdale, who's the coordinator, who I do need to pause right now. I forgot, and I shouldn't have, but the coordinators, Ms. Ramsdale and Ms. Cardinal, have been instrumental. They've been absolutely amazing. Couldn't ask for a better team, and also with my assistant Lois, couldn't ask for a better team. We're a small department, but they are so critical and important for the district. So I just want to say a special thank you for them. So building that vision together, and so making it a collaborative approach, and that way we can all share it. So looking with the professional development opportunities with the teachers, what are our program descriptions? What does our sub-separate programs look like? What does our inclusion program look like? What are the methods in determining who needs what services, exit and entrance criteria? And getting some background information on that, so that way when we come up with a plan moving forward, we have that baseline. Looking at what we have for career and college readiness. We have students that have some requirements of specialized services for pre-voc work, pre-vocational work, daily living skills work, functional academics, grade level academics. So where's our curriculum? Where's those resources? Do we have ovens to bake things in? And we're going to get there in a minute because I'm really excited.
Because I'm not going to ask, so.
We're getting there.
Okay.
We are getting there, I promise you. So part of that is helps me and informs me on how to spend money that is allocated to us in our grants. So the Department of Ed provides us what's called the 240 and the 262 grants. Those are IDEA, Individual with Disability Education Act grants. And we have funds allocated to us where we can, that is outside of not so much the budget, but just where we want to focus on. So some of the areas of impact that from the feedback from all the stakeholders was we want to really focus on reading interventions. We're setting aside specific section of money for reading interventions. I would like to, right now, I'm looking into a few avenues. I would prefer to have someone come out to us and when we can have a cohort of teachers get trained potentially in OG or other reading intervention services. And then that way they're on site. We can do it here. It could be during potentially the school day or something of that nature. But I have a couple companies. I have a few avenues. Worst case scenario, there are some online courses that the teachers can do. But I would much prefer having someone come out to us. Also, compliance is a big area of focus for us. Part of the 240 grant, we are funding some hours for an additional admin assistant to look at paperwork, ensure that everything timeline-wise is going through. As I said, we are a very small department.
Yep.
We are a small department, so this is going to just help us. And it doesn't take a lot of time, but there was some money that we allocated there. We also allocated a part of that money to help mentor Ms. Cardinal. She's a brand-new coordinator. We wanted to make sure she hit the ground running, and did so with support. So Ms. Donlin, who was the interim SPED director last year, was gracious enough to give us some time. So she was able to mentor her for the last 6 weeks. We're looking to roughly kind of finish that up at the end of November. So she's done an excellent job, and I can't thank her enough for everything that she's done. So going to the community outings, that's next. I know. So we went to Hannaford's about 3 weeks ago. We wanted to go out as a community outing, so they did a grocery list together as the Stars and Stripes here at the high school. Ms. Wickus who's a brand-new teacher, has done an amazing job with that program. She has a great vision of that program, wants to get the students involved and included, which just goes right in line with my vision as well. So we got out to Hannaford's. We did a taco luncheon. So we were down here in our home ec class, and we were going through the ovens. So each student had an oven, and we were we did all the cooking for the meat and chopping of the vegetables and all the prep work. And then we had a nice sit-down lunch together. And it was great. It was wonderful. The kids loved it. One of the students asked if they can bring some home for their parents because they were so proud of what they did. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was the first round, because I also wanted to see what our students were able to do. So the second round, we went off grounds yesterday back to Hannaford's, and we bought the makings for coffee and pastries. So what we're going to do next Tuesday is offer to any staff here at the high school a coffee cart. We're going to come around, we're going to give some free coffee, going to give some pastries, and just introduce ourselves to the staff. The reason for that is, there's a reason for that, because what I would like to do is have a sustainable coffee cart. Now the teachers can purchase the coffee. We'll make it a fee that just sustains it. We're not looking to make a profit or anything, but we want to.
And regulations.
So the students will manage this. So now we're talking about money management, we're talking about stocking, we're talking about interpersonal skills, and that's something we can do internally. What we would look to do from there is, what can we use in the community also to build upon and generalize those skills? I have a couple of ideas with interest with some students, have some animal interest and passion for animals. So I was looking at some of the shelters or some of the animal hospitals where we could maybe provide some volunteer work for them, get off grounds for a little bit. So I'm waiting to get out to them so that way we can find out if they're interested in the free work, basically. I almost forgot, part of the coffee cart, what I would love to do, and I've talked to Ms. Wickus about this, and I've talked to the DECA teacher about this, is to have this as an inclusion opportunity for the DECA students to also be marketing the coffee cart for us. In a past district, we've actually gone to the DECA conference, and the students that would be in Stars and Stripes in the other district actually did a presentation at DECA. It was amazing. They loved it. So, another vision down the road. We also just had a meeting with the Pre-Employment Transition Services. This is a community group through the state funding. It's MRC, state funding, Mass Rehab Committee. And what they do is they work with our students in the community, but sometimes there's some difficulty getting those job skill opportunities because they have a center in Worcester. So what we've been able to do is find some time during the school day they can come to us. And we can carve out a piece of the day once a month, and they can come and work with some kids here. Right now, we're trying to also expand. They have a limited number of students. We're trying to expand it, and even more than once a month, but we'll see what their resources can provide. I'm hoping. We have our tiered focus monitoring, so we have 3 of them this year. So that means the state will be coming out and auditing us and looking at our compliance. We'll be looking at our folders and our practices and procedures. The site visit is in April for all 3. So what they're going to be highlighting and looking at is our special education practices and procedures, our civil rights practices and procedures, and our English language learners practices and procedures. To help with this, we are trying to develop a policies, practice, and procedure manual to kind of outline what the district will do and what is our practice for each of the standards that they have. We did a self-assessment, which those results will be coming back to us shortly. Dr. Vieira and I have a meeting tomorrow, I believe, or is it next week? It might be next week, with the site supervisor, the one who's coming out. So they're going to outline the steps and everything from there. So there will be a report that comes out of this that has to be shared with school committee, which I'll be more than happy to present. We're coupling that with also a private special education audit. We went out to bid for 3 different agencies or individuals who might be able to do it. So what this audit is going to look at is a deep dive 5 to 6 years back of our practices, our policies, our procedures, our compliance, what our programs have matured to, or what might not have been practices in the past to where we are now. They will also be interviewing staff and interviewing families and talking about what they would recommend moving forward. And there is a report that will be coming out of that. So that will also be presented at school committee. We're going with Seaside Associates. Seaside I've previously worked with them in another district. They did a very thorough audit in the previous district with some great recommendations. But we had to do the the bid process. So we had to try to get 3 bids, and they were the best of the bids. So and is hitting each of the components we're looking for. So it was perfect for us. And then lastly, we are going to be sending out postings for our unified sports. We're looking to get our winter and spring as well as Special Olympics. And I have some ideas about Special Olympics. In past districts, we've traveled to a giant jamboree special that had about 15 different districts. You're talking hundreds of kids. And it was wonderful. And the kids did a really great job, and the expression on their faces when they get on the bus and they're traveling there, it's wonderful. So first and foremost, I want to make sure we have the support and the staff to be able to do that. So the posting will be going out the week after Thanksgiving on that. So that was the first 100 days so far.
Thank you. It sounds like
Thank
there's like
you.
a lot of great things. Love your ideas. They're just coming out. Like I can just see them. So that's great. I can't wait to see what comes down the line. I did have one question in terms of CPAC. Are we finding that there's an increased engagement in those meetings with families?
We have a good 7 families that come out. Sometimes more, sometimes less. We have about 7 committed families.
It's kind of similar to what we've had in the past.
It's pretty similar. I would just say that, I think the trust has been a difficult thing. So a lot of the families are off camera. Not all the families have their name on, because that's just where we are, that we're trying to build that back. But I think what's been good is that people have been, what we did with all SPED directors, every district does this, is you have the meeting while the director's there, you dismiss the director, and then you have the, after conversations, and I think the overarching concern is just we need to trust. There is concern, with the literacy and with, us needing to have Orton Gillingham and Wilson and us needing to have these people, and everybody, I think, feels that we just need a charted vision, and kind of maybe like more of a district-wide kind of literacy, special ed kind of plan, or some kind of vision. I think you're spot on. Let's train our teachers and let's do those things. But I think, kind of having like a 1-year plan and a 5-year goal, kind of similar to what we do with our strategic planning, I think is what families are talking a lot about wanting, because you need to have the sustainable quality staff. And, we're off, I think you're offering training, you're trying to do the things to get the training in place. And I think, that kind of goes to where I personally think where we need to be looking is what are we going to do, and not even just for special ed students, but all students.
Just to piggyback off that, was it yesterday we had this conversation?
Yeah.
It's just one big Kids have to know how to read.
Yes.
I mean, you can spin it any way you want, but kids have to know how to read. We used Wonders as our series, and we've been able to, last year, bring back a Wonders consultant to come in and work with teachers on how to better use that tool. We spent a lot of money on books, bringing in authentic books for our students, so you can have, a kid doesn't want to read a book they're not interested in. So we spent about $50,000-$60,000 bringing in thousands of books to put in the hands of teachers, to put in the hands of kids. We're looking at our model. We've had various conversations about how can we get more literacy people in the building. Currently, Don Giorgi does an amazing job at the elementary school with OG for our special education students. We need to expand on that. But that's investing resources in hiring additional people. This year, we are doing foundations for grade 2. We currently do foundations in K and 1. We're expanding that to 2 this year. Foundations is the premier program for phonics at the early elementary as a tier 1 intervention, and can be used as a tier 2. Love to expand that to grade 3 next year as a tier 2 tool. But we need to have our teachers know. We need to have the resources to be able to give to teachers, to give to kids, to be able to help kids read. And we're seeing that over and over and over. And then you see the benefits of it. When you can attack that at tier 1 and pre-K, K1, it lowers your SPED referrals. But the other thing that it does, more importantly, is it makes a kid feel comfortable coming to school. Makes them feel happy, makes them feel
Confident.
excited. Doesn't make them, it makes them
That's
feel
it right
confident,
there.
right? If you know you're struggling with ELA first period, and you're going to math and you have to read a word problem, and you can't do it, you struggle. Then you go to science and you have to read a problem and you struggle reading, it hits you there. Oh, and then you go to social studies and it hits you there. It's over and over and over again. So it's a conversation we've had, and it's how do you relook at resources to try to get those literacy people down in the elementary, in the primary school. 100% spot on. It was funny, yesterday, there's a study out there, I don't know if I told you about it, Greg, but Cordy and I actually watched a 15-minute YouTube video. It's called the Purple Study. I don't know if people have seen it. It's if you Google Purple Study literacy, it's pretty cool. It's a mom the premise is, can my child read? And it's probably a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old child, and it's the first picture is the girl plays with a purple ball. Then it's the girl paints the wall purple. And then you could see her reading, but she really wasn't decoding the words. She was memorizing the words and sounding some of them out based on the pictures that were there. So the girl read it, and the mom's like, oh, so you think my child can read? Then right after, she covered the pictures. Couldn't read the words, because she didn't have the clues up there. And then through repetition, because she was smart enough, she was able to read all the words. And the last thing the mother did was put the words in isolation, with
Yeah.
zero context. Kid
No
couldn't do it.
pictures, completely blank.
Kid
yeah.
could do it. So it just highlights the fact that a lot of our students are able, through context clues, I'm sure you see it all the time still as a high school level, through context clues are able to read it. But when they see the words in isolation, they can't decode them. And that's where a strong phonics program comes in
It's
at the
very
early
telling.
elementary grades.
Yeah, very telling.
Corey's like, there's
Yeah.
no way this is gonna happen. And we actually we watched.
Especially with the word purple, because she had seen it so many times going through, but when she couldn't come close to, when the
couldn't pronounce
word
it.
purple, not even close. Yeah, really struggled, and I actually, you could feel the struggle. You just, poor thing, trying to.
And they mask.
Sorry to go down a literacy tangent, but yeah.
I'm thankful, though, that you seem to have put a lot of thought into what you want to do these first 100 days and even in the future. And I'm thankful that we have someone who's here and being thoughtful and thorough about it.
Yeah.
And really, and thank you, and I try to be, and, you know, I like data-based decisions, and not just the numbers. I also like the anecdotal information from teachers and other stakeholders, because that's how you get the background of why the numbers are the way they come out. So, you know, I really like data to make my decisions.
Excellent.
I'm good. Thank you. It's so nice to meet you. Thank you for
Very good
coming.
to meet you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
So I'm elated. I got a little teary-eyed about the Stars and Stripes
Yeah,
program.
that's-
That's our most vulnerable, you know, and the fact that we actually have them back out in the community.
That's what they
The
need.
cart is back. I mean, I think that's the pride and joy of that program, is getting those kids out back into the
Yeah.
high school, the middle school.
Yeah.
I love the idea. You know, if you need us to come in and support,
I was gonna
I'm
say,
more
I
than
would love
happy
to
to
come
come
in
in.
and see that.
Because it's an opportunity, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Just to get that card back, that is huge. And getting them back out in the community is so important. And so I thank you. I know there's a lot of struggles that we have going on. It sounds like we're making progress, and that's all we can
Oh, God,
ask
yeah.
for, right?
Oh,
But
yes.
making sure those kids they feel belonging, that they're being heard, and they're back out in the community to give them those social skills that they need to have too as well. But also the money management piece, I mean, it's like,
Everything.
It's all of it.
it's all inclusive. That is just, there's a lot of stuff that you have on your plate. But if we got that right, I think that to me is just a huge thing, because it was missing, and the kids need that. They need those skills. And so I'm very appreciative. I know that's a lot to ask of you in your first 100 days, but the
Yep.
fact that you got that, parents will come. They'll come around. Once they see the effort. It just takes time, but for me, just getting the Stars and Stripe program, that has been a
Huge.
struggle.
That is so huge. It's
So-
so huge.
That is something that I kind of end every CPAC with is, you know, we are getting there. I'm just asking for a little patience. Change, sustainable change takes time.
Yeah, that's key.
We can all make change. Can that carry over time? And that's where, you know, we want to make sure we're doing it right.
Yep.
And a lot of parents are like, this is a great idea. How do we get it done in the middle school? I'm like, we're getting there.
Right,
I'm
right.
It's
I'm
baby
getting there,
steps.
baby
Right.
steps.
Stars and Stripe program has, to me, that has been like, it needed attention,
It
immediate
did.
attention. So I am
Yeah.
very, very thankful.
It did. And I think one thing too, Greg, is I think, you know, when there has been things that maybe families were questioning or weren't happy with, I think you were really responsive and thoughtful in saying, oh, okay, I didn't think about it that way, but that makes sense. I can do that. And like, that might not change tomorrow, but like over time, parents, like as a mom, you know, some of the things with like the progress notes and how that was different, and it was kind of like, whoa, what's that? But like you reflecting and being like, oh, okay, that's why, because you've always done it like that. Okay, I can do that. Like, I think that's helpful.
I'm always looking to grow too, so there's always those opportunities. But thank you.
So I thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing how the next 100 days go, right?
Next time, bring pictures.
We're building to something, we need to, we're building to something for a February school committee meeting, the first school committee meeting in February. But Greg needs to have a conversation with a classroom teacher before it happens, so we don't want to.
We would welcome whatever the opportunity is. I would absolutely say that.
And if we could come and see them.
Yes, I mean,
I will get the exact time for Tuesday. So we're just waiting to find out when the home ec class is open for us to bake, and then we're going to do the card right after. And so we'll get the email out
if
to
you could
the-
put that in your newsletter, because I think that would be
I think that would be really cool.
really cool. I think just, again, anything we can do to celebrate the kids. It's all about the kids at the end of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Oh, it's not me, it's you.
And we'll see what that looks like, but again, we had a meeting today. One thing we did last year was bring students here to the school committee meeting to present. Next meeting, we have, Cindy's coming with 2 of her teachers, some kids to present on ST Math.
When they come.
I'm not going to steal Greg's thunder to present, but we're looking at potentially having, he talked about a project that he's working on here. I wouldn't be shocked if in February there was a presentation here for you. But we just need to let them have time to grow.
Yep, absolutely.
The only last thing on my report is people may know that our boys and girls soccer teams are in the state semifinals. They're in the Final Four. Boys won in penalty kicks, so they're going to the finals. Well, congratulations to them. Second time in 3 years going to the state finals, which will be on Saturday. Time and place to be determined. And then the girls kicked off, I believe, at 6:30 against Whitenville's Christian. They're both up in Air Shirley, 4:30 and a 6:30 game, which is why Mr. Ringet's not here tonight to present. But congratulations to the boys team going to the state finals.
Yes,
which is
awesome.
awesome.
A lot of great stuff going on.
And I'll end on that high note.
Okay, moving on to the school committee and subcommittee report and the accounts payable report. I signed and approved a warrant number 18 SCH 24 and 18 SCHL 24 on dated November 2nd and 3rd, a batch of 11 in the amount of $166,775.30, and nothing was out of the ordinary on that one. The next one is warrant number 19 SCH 24 and warrant number 19 SCHL 24, warrant dated on November 9th and 10th. There were 14 in this batch in the amount of $150,218.64, and nothing was out of the ordinary with this one as well. Moving on to the consent agenda. The November 1st meeting minutes. For a motion?
I make a motion to approve the November 1st, 2023 school committee meeting minutes.
Motion made by Monique, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Beth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? Thanks. Moving on to the next is the approval of the out-of-state band and chorus performance.
I'll take that from Mr. Ringet. He was going to be here tonight, but he's out supporting our students at their soccer game. So historically, the music department has traveled on various trips once a year. This is a continuation. They're looking to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania on May 3rd, Friday, May 3rd through Sunday, May 5th, to participate in the Music in Parks Festival. They'll do some performing and also enjoy a little bit of time at Hershey Park. It's a couple of years ago, they went to Philadelphia, so this is just an annual tradition they've done. We had a little stopgap there for a year or two with COVID, but they're just looking for committee approval to go back on that field trip since it's out of state. There's no cost to the district. Students will fund that with some fundraising opportunities to defray the costs. It's great for kids.
Anyone have any questions? Be looking for a motion?
I move to approve permission for the out-of-state trip for Music in the Parks Music Festival at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania from May 3rd through May 5th, 2024.
Motion made by Beth, seconded by? Second by Monique. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have on the agenda, I do have 2 more job descriptions, and I think this is it. Yeah, but I mean, there might be some, and as we move down, but we don't even want to think about those for all the things. But anyway, so we do have the job description for the network technician, and John Calabrese had sent me I'm not a tech person, so he had to send me a lot of the technology aspects of it. So all I did was just change up, to the format that we've been using, changed a couple little things. So I don't know if anybody had any questions regarding that.
Please don't ask us what any of the letters and acronyms mean.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, or we could ask you, correct.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions on this? I'll be looking for a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve the network technician Douglas Public Schools job description.
Motion made by Monique, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Meg. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the school year secretary for the building principals, which currently we have one at the high school and one that's shared between middle school and elementary school. And these were both looked at. These were looked at by Mr. O'Brien and by Mr. Ringet as well. Because we weren't going to do 2 separate ones, so I incorporated it in, and just said as required, if it's only applies to one school or another, just to kind of cover our bases there.
Anybody have any questions on this one? If not, they're looking for a motion.
I move to approve the school year secretary for building principal, Douglas Public School job description.
Motion made by Monique, seconded by?
Teresa?
Seconded by Teresa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? All set.
So now final on the consent agenda, we do have, we're voting for the 3rd time on the FY 2024 school department appropriation. And this was an additional amount of $187,347 that was approved by the town meeting voters at the special town meeting that we had last Monday, yes. Time flies. So, I know that we spoke about this additional amount and things of the agenda item summary that I provided to you is basically reiterating the same information because of the chronology of what we've gone through with the budget process. But I guess at this time, if nobody minds, I'd like to let everyone know, in the public, if anybody's watching, that if you ever have any questions regarding our budget or the process, please do not hesitate to reach out to either Dr. Vieira or myself, Business and Operations Manager. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. We do present our budget, our preliminary budget every year, just by way of information on the process. Around February each year, it's very preliminary to the school committee. And at that time, what we're presenting is a needs-based budget, which we all feel very strongly, in order to inform the school committee, and that's our job here, mine and the superintendent's, the school committee, we both, and on behalf of the leadership team, we want to make sure that the school committee has information on which to base their decisions on. So, and also, we're all here for the students. That's what we're all here for. That's what all of you, 5 of you are here for. That's what all of our jobs are, is here to support the students. That requires resources, that requires funding. So certainly, in order to know what we really need before we do all the cuts that we need to make, that we know we always have to make, we always present a needs budget. And then certainly when we get the town's amount, the amount that we're going to be getting from the town, we always have to remove from that budget, and we understand that. So last year, we did remove about $750,000 from our budget. And then we had some situations with the funding, which we went over in the past. It was $343,000 that was removed from our budget just before the budget public hearing just again, by way of information to anyone that might be watching, we're required by law, the school committee, to have a budget public hearing every year. At that time, that's the time for anyone out there, any resident, any taxpayer, any parent, anyone at all wants to come, we welcome you to come, to ask questions, be informed about the budget process. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. We also, we post the budget. We have copies of that budget available at that meeting, and we also post the budget on our website thereafter. We'd be happy to provide it to anyone who would be looking for it. Also, in speaking on behalf, I'm sure that any of the principals, the building principals would be happy to answer any questions anyone has about the budget for their particular building. Again, we're here to answer any questions anyone has. As I'm sure everyone knows, school departments are, we're here for a number of students. All of those students are individual students. They all have individual needs. Aside from that, we have mandates as well. Many, many mandates. And I'm sure that everyone has heard about the issues that we're also dealing with regard to social emotional issues. That's fairly new as far as how it's gone up exponentially over the past just several years, not even the last 5 years. That all takes money and resources. And so we are really struggling more and more each year to take a certain amount of dollars that we have and trying to divvy it up. You want it over here, you need it over here, but wait a minute, we need it over here, but we need it over here, but we need it over here, but wait a minute. We only have enough to go in 2 of those places, 3 are going to have to go without. Those are the tough decisions that we make. And also, we do fund a large part of our budget, and actually it was to the tune of $3.4 million out of funds that we have available to us. Because if anybody knows me, I am not one that would ever advocate for sitting on a war chest of funds, because then you are overtaxing taxpayers, and I'm sure all of you have heard me say that. We do take a look at all of our funds, all of our revolving funds, all of our grants, all of our donation accounts, and we look to utilize them during the budget process. But we also have to think prospectively about the next year's budget, the year after that, but also the current year that we're in. If something breaks, and even though we have budgeted over $400,000 for building maintenance and repairs, we don't know what's going to break and how much that's going to cost. We have never gone to the town for reserve fund transfer to the finance committee. Any department can do that. We have never done that. We don't do that. So we look to utilize the funds that we have and try to be responsible with them and think prospectively about the current year and future years as far as being able to have that dollar amount available, because if the town doesn't provide more funding, we need to dip more and more into school choice or circuit breaker. Those are our largest accounts. Circuit breaker can only be used for special education. It can't be used for anything else. So I just say that by way of information. There's been some misinformation that has been out there that's been very troubling to me, for one person. I'm sure for others as well. And again, if anyone has any questions about the budget or the process, we would appreciate the courtesy, and I say again, the courtesy of asking those that work with it and deal with it every single day of the year. Not someone on the outside that it does not work in the school. They're not dealing with any of these issues on a daily basis. We are, and we'll be happy, if we can't answer the question, we'll be happy to direct you to the person in the school district who will. At any time at all, please reach out. So we do appreciate the additional $187,347 from the town and from the town meeting voters. So I have just provided some language to do that.
Before that, I wasn't
Oh,
going
I'm
to say,
sorry.
no, it's all right,
Yeah,
it's
okay,
all
I'm
right.
sorry.
Just, first and foremost, I want to thank the taxpayers and the residents who voted for the 187 there. It was a different amount last year, but that's in the past, and we look forward, and this amount will help our budget this year. But as Courtney said, it allows us the ability to look forward to FY '25 and '26, which we have to do. Social media is phenomenal for a whole host of reasons. But as Courtney said, there's a lot of information out there that we see on Facebook, that we see on Twitter, that you see through YouTube videos, that you hear through different things, about people talking about our budget and the inner workings of the school department. And we've never had the courtesy of people calling us and asking the questions. So I just want to reiterate exactly what Courtney said. If people have questions about our budget, if people want to know why we do something, pick up the phone and call us. Email us. We'll call you back, we'll email you, we'll have a meeting. We'd rather have you get the information from people who work every single solitary day with the information, and not from a thread on Facebook that goes 60 pages deep with people who unfortunately may not know the inner workings.
They're
So
uninformed.
Please, come and reach out to us. More than happy
Be
to talk to people.
informed, and I will say for you've both been very responsive, anytime, whether it's for anything, budgetary, school operations, any questions, you're more than willing to. So I appreciate that, and I hope the community takes advantage of that for them to become more informed. And I appreciate all the work that you've done with this, so.
Thank you. I just have to add that to piggyback. Thank you, Courtney.
Yep, thank you very much. So does anyone have any questions, and I did provide the motion language, too.
Be looking for a motion?
I move to approve the updated FY 2024 general fund budget appropriation in the amount of $14,918,771, and to approve the additional $187,347 that was approved at the special town meeting to budget line 14023051-51100, DHS teacher salaries. There is no change to the transportation budget.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by?
Second.
Second by Monique. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to school business and operations manager report. This evening, I do have one reclassification, FY 2024 reclassification to number 5, and that is just moving copier ones from administrative to instructional. DESE has a very humongous chart of accounts that we're required, again, talk about details, as the school department has. DESE, we're required only on the school side, not any of the town departments, but on the school side, we're required by DESE to have certain function codes that every single account has to go in, and whether or not it's instructional, non-instructional, because that's how they determine per pupil expenditure, among other things. So, so we have to very, very, detailed.
The devil's in the details,
Yes.
right?
And boy, it's a devil sometimes, too. Okay.
I'd be looking for a motion.
I move to approve the Douglas Public Schools FY 2024 reclassifications number 5. School committee
Second.
meeting. Sorry, November 15th, 2020, whatever day it is.
Motion made by Monique, seconded by Teresa. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thanks.
That's all I have for this evening.
Awesome. Any topics not anticipated?
Just good luck to our boys on Saturday, and
Yes.
hopefully in about an
What's
hour
the
and a
girls?
half, we'll have good news from the girls. I haven't heard anything from Mr. Ringat yet about the score.
Sweet. Be looking for a motion.
I move to close the Wednesday, November 15th school committee meeting at 7:27 PM.
Motion made by Beth, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Teresa. All those in favor? I mean Monique, sorry.
I know I should say my name.
No. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?